Hi guys, just wanted to present you one of my games that I played on chesscube.com. My name is Rahka. On chesscube.com it's spelled R-A-H-K-A, and my opponent is m2d, and he's slightly weaker than I am in his rating. But anyway, here's the game. He started with the pawn move to d4, and I play the modern defense, which is usually played against the an e4 opening, and for some reason he wants to bring his queen out pretty early in the game, and I bring my knight out, just developing, and now he pushes his pawn to f3, just taking these two squares away from my knight, and I Ficheall my bishop on this pretty strong diagonal. It can cause some problems later in the game for him, and he moves his pawn to b3, and he's getting ready to Ficheall his bishop as well. Excuse my voice, I'm a little bit sick at the moment, have a little bit of a fever. I just moved my pawn to d5 now, and he moves his knight to d2, which is kind of weird because it can cause some trouble for his queen, which is kind of blocked in now. So I develop my knight to c6, and he moves his a pawn to a position where it's defending this square where I could potentially attack his queen with my knight. So I castle, and he pushes his pawn to h3, just defending against my bishop here, which can attack the square g4 at some point along with my knight on f6, and I push my pawn to e5, attacking his d4 pawn. Now he makes the pawn push to e3, defending his pawn and also opening up this diagonal for his bishop. And I take the pawn, he takes back, and now I push my pawn to a6 just to defend against this potential bishop or queen attack. Then he moves his knight out, just defending this pawn that is currently being attacked by my knight. Then this queen move to d6. It's a pretty weird move, but I'm eyeing up the g3 square, and you'll see why in the next move that I'm gonna do. And now he Fichealls his bishop, which is also defending this pawn again that is attacked by my knight. So now my knight from f6 to e4, which is threatening a fork on g3. And is defended by my queen. That's why I did that weird queen move. So I'm kind of worried that he might be able to make some sort of really strong attack now later on in this endgame phase or in this middle game phase. So I just want to start opening lines a little bit because I have quite a lot of energy already built up and I want to be able to use it. So I'm basically trying to sacrifice my knight. I'm not really a strong chess player, so anybody who can count a lot of moves ahead can probably see some sort of really good line that would probably checkmate me in a few moves, but I'm not sure. So I just wanted to try this wild move. So he takes my knight, and I take back the pawn, and he moves his knight in, takes the pawn, and attacks my queen. So I move my queen to e6, he moves his other knight in, and also attacks the queen again. Queen to e7. Bishop to c3, he's getting ready to put his bishop on b4, where it would be attacking my queen and also squaring my rook. So I'd be losing my rook there. Then bishop to f5, pitting his knight on e4 to his queen. And now the pawn pushed to d5, which is attacking my knight that is defending the square b4 where the bishop could come to. Well, this seems like a pretty good move, but actually it allows me to come with my bishop from g7 and take his bishop. Now I'm forking his king and rook. So naturally he doesn't want to lose his rook in this position, so he just takes back with the queen. And this allows me to take his knight on e4, checking the king. He moves his bishop in, blocks the check. And now knight to d4, which is putting a question at my c7 pawn. And I'm actually offering this as bait, and luckily he takes it with his queen, which is a mistake because I can just launch a pretty good attack here. Knight takes the pawn on c2, checking the king. King to d2, not sure if this is a really good move. Queen to e3, my queen is defended by my knight, and my knight is defended by my bishop. So now the king is in check again. He's gonna move. He's gonna have to move now. And he moves back to d1. Queen to d4, checking the king again, and also attacking the rook. King to c1. I take the rook, checks the king. King to d2 again, and I take the rook on h1, and I'm threatening mate on 1. Mate in 1, sorry. On the square e1. And now his only choice really is to take my knight with his queen, because I mean, if he tries to run, then one potential move I can do is just pin his queen to his king, and it's already a lost game for him, even though he's pretty much in a lost position. But he just doesn't want to do that. He wants to take a little bit of material before losing the game, I guess. So he just takes my knight. I take back with my bishop, and his king takes my bishop. Then rook to e8, getting ready to attack his knight and his bishop on the square e4. His bishop moves to c4. I'm not sure why I did this, but I take some advantage of it and pin his bishop to his king. Then he moves his pawn to a4, defending against the potential b5 push, which would put some pressure on his bishop. Then I attack his knight. He moves his knight to d3, and I attack this knight so I can take this pawn on g2 and check his king. So his king moves, and now I put my other rook on e8, and I'm getting ready to put my rook on e3, where it would be pinning his knight to the king. Then he does this weird pawn push, just wasting some time, or maybe a waiting move, I don't know. Maybe not the best move, of course. And this is a bad move. I should have just done that rook pin already, but I just take the pawn. He attacks my queen. I check the king, and he moves the knight back. And now I do this rook pin. He starts moving away, and I take his bishop. Seeing that, of course, I have the material advantage here, so I can just take his bishop. And he takes back. So I take the knight on d3. His king is trying to escape, so I just stop it with the queen, checking the king. King to b4. Now I do the a5 push, checking the king again. King has to go to a3. Queen to e7, checking the king. Then king to b2. Queen to e2, checking the king again. King moves to a3. Then queen to c2, and he has no option here. He's just going to lose, and it's checkmate. Well, not one of the best games, of course. I'm just a beginner, but I just wanted to show it to you, and I hope you liked it. Thanks.